My name is the Archivist. The year is 2031. A place is a container for memory. A town is a collection of shared beliefs, a story people tell each other every day to make it real. But what happens when that story is changed? What happens when the collective belief that holds a place together unravels? Today, we open a file that deconstructs the anatomy of a place that ceased to exist. Welcome back to the archive. This is file number 1853, the town that unwrote itself. Havens Creek was a town that should not have existed. It was nestled in a remote, almost inaccessible valley in the Appalachian Mountains, a place the modern world had largely forgotten. It had a single road in, no cell service, no internet. Its 512 residents were a quiet, close-knit community. They were, by all accounts, exceptionally happy. They reported zero crime, perfect health, and a profound sense of communal belonging. They were a perfect anomaly, a statistical impossibility. On the morning of October 3rd, a truck driver on his weekly supply run crested the ridge overlooking the valley and slammed on his brakes. The town of Havens Creek was gone. Not burned, not rubble, not a crater. Where a town of houses, a church, a main street, and 512 people had stood the day before, there was now only a perfectly circular, unnervingly smooth patch of barren earth. The trees were gone. The road was gone. The very soil was scrubbed clean. It was as if a giant hand had reached down from the heavens and surgically erased the town from the face of the earth. The initial investigation was a circus of confusion. Geologists found no seismic activity. Physicists found no residual radiation. The military denied testing any new form of weapon. There was no debris, no bodies, no explanation. The case became a national media sensation for a week. The vanished town, before being quietly buried under the weight of its own impossibility. But it did not remain buried in my archive. The file was flagged by a familiar name, Mr. Blackwood, from a department of the government that does not officially exist. He brought in the one person who specialized in impossible events, Dr. Aris Thorne. Aris arrived at the site a month later. The barren patch of land was already being reclaimed by weeds at its edges, but the center remained sterile. The laws of physics have a distaste for this place, she noted, her sensors finding nothing but a profound, eerie normalcy. But Aris didn't just trust her sensors. She trusted her senses. The air in the circle was unnaturally still. The birds and insects that chirped and buzzed in the surrounding forest fell silent at its border. And as she walked towards the center, she began to hear them. Faint, auditory hallucinations. The echo of children laughing, the distant chime of a church bell, the clang of a blacksmith's hammer. The sounds of a ghost town. The investigation found 7 survivors. 7 residents who, by sheer chance, had been out of town on the night of the vanishing. They were in protective custody, shattered by the loss of everyone and everything they had ever known. But when Aris interviewed them, the mystery deepened. Their memories were fractured. When asked to describe their hometown, their stories were full of contradictions. One remembered the town hall being made of brick, another swore it was white-painted wood. 2 of them remembered the same summer festival happening in completely different years. Their shared memory of their home was like a corrupted data file, full of glitches and missing information. Aris realized the key to the mystery wasn't in the empty space where the town used to be. It was in the broken memories of those who had survived it. She put them, one by one, under deep hypnosis. In the hypnotic state, a new, terrifying consistency emerged. When asked to describe their home, they didn't speak of wood and stone. They spoke of a feeling, a warmth, a song that connected them all. They described a place that felt more like a shared, perfect dream than a physical reality. This was the thread. Aris dove into the town's history. Havens Creek was founded in 1870 by a reclusive philosopher and scientist named Dr. Alistair Finch. Finch was obsessed with the concept of a collective consciousness. His private journals, which Aris unearthed in a university archive, were the key. He hadn't just founded a town, He had built an experiment. His geological surveys had led him to that specific valley for one reason. Beneath it lay the largest, purest deposit of crystalline quartz on the continent. Finch believed that a crystal of this size and purity could act as a natural psychic amplifier. For 150 years, the residents of Havens Creek had been living in a low-level, shared psychic field, a communal weave. Their shared thoughts, beliefs, and memories, amplified by the crystal, reinforced their physical reality, keeping them perfectly happy, perfectly healthy, and perfectly isolated. Their town was, in essence, a dream they were all having together, a story that had become real through the power of their belief. The visuals could shift here to an object being deconstructed, revealing something unexpected inside. But a dream is a fragile thing. Aris's investigation uncovered the catalyst for the collapse. A new family had moved to town a year prior, the first new residents in decades. The father, a man named Gideon, was a descendant of Finch's academic rival, a man who had called his theories dangerous nonsense. Gideon knew the secret of Havens Creek. He was a psychic nihilist, a man who believed that consciousness was a curse and reality was a prison. He saw Havens Creek not as a utopia, but as the ultimate lie. And he had come to erase it. He didn't use a bomb. He used a whisper, a psychic virus, a single, powerful, nihilistic thought, which he projected into the heart of the town's psychic weave. The thought was simple. None of this is real. That single, poisonous idea spread through their collective consciousness like a plague. The residents began to doubt. The shared belief that held their world together began to fray. The houses, the trees, the very people themselves, they were constructs of a story. And when the storytellers stopped believing in the story, it began to unwrite itself. The vanishing was not an abduction or an explosion. It was a mass erasure. The town and its people didn't go anywhere. They simply stopped being real, their reality collapsing back into the potential energy from which it was formed. The survivors were spared because they were outside the field's influence that night. Their memories are fractured because they are trying to remember a dream, a place whose very existence was conditional on a belief that had been shattered. The archivist's voice returns for the conclusion. The file on Havens Creek is officially closed, the event logged as an unexplained geological phenomenon. The land is quarantined, a silent monument to a story that ate itself. Gideon, the man who had murdered a town with a thought, was among the erased, a victim of his own nihilistic success. This case is a chilling entry in our archive. It reminds us of the anatomy of reality itself, that our world is perhaps not as solid as we believe. It is a story we agree to tell each other. This file serves as a warning that the most powerful weapon in the universe is not a bomb or a blade. It is a single, perfectly placed out, introduced into the heart of a beautiful idea.
Galaxy or rainbow? Gold or silver? Sakura or rose? chocolate or jam,